In Season 2, Episode 4 of Transformers Animated, the intended moral of the episode is summarized by Optimus Prime as,
"No amount of good deeds can make up for a bad attitude."
The intention of this message is to scold Ratchet for being an abrasive curmudgeon, for being unreasonable, rude, and unwilling to accept fault when he mistreats others. Setting aside the fact that this has never been that much of a problem before this episode, inventing a character arc that doesn't need to exist, the bigger problem with this moral is how completely backwards it is as soon as you think about it for any amount of time. If you take Optimus's words to their logical conclusion, he's saying that it's more important to be nice than to do good. Nice and good are not strict synonyms. Being nice is pure front-facing behavior, the tone of your voice and the way you express yourself. The problem with being nice is that you can do the most horrific thing imaginable to another person with a gentle tone and a polite smile. Yeah, your insurance was denied, and you are most certainly going to die without this medication you can't afford. But I'm afraid that's just not our problem. Have a nice day. Doing good, on the other hand, betters the world, at least in a small way, regardless of your behavior or your intentions for doing it. A convict doing garbage pickup, grumbling and snarking the whole time is still cleaning the space, even if they're not happy about it. A reluctant student volunteer at your local soup kitchen is still feeding people. You can't call those actions wrong just because they might be a bit of a dick about it. Is there nuance to this? Yes, of course. Behavior can cross over into action when acting like a jerk turns into, for example, ableism and reckless endangerment. But that nuance isn't made within the episode. Hence the whole reason Ratchet is yanked into the realm of behaving out of character for the sake of teaching this lesson. Because Ratchet's normal level of grumpy old man isn't enough to make his attitude bad enough to cross over into committing actual wrongdoing. So instead of expressing a distinction between abrasiveness and outright abuse, the writers just force the character into place to make a point that isn't even right. Like, if you take the lesson of a good attitude is better than doing good deeds to its obvious extreme, Optimus is telling the audience that it's okay to cause open harm to others as long as you're nice about it. Calling the cops on a harmless stranger isn't wrong if you're polite to the 911 operator. You're not a bad person if you blow your friend's rent money on video games if you say sorry afterwards. And this would all be one thing if it were just this episode. If this was the only time ever that Animated told the audience that being mean is worse than committing crime. Unfortunately, that moral is consistent through Animated. For example, here's Bulkhead victim-blaming Wasp for being tortured by the elite guard.
"You may not be a traitor, but you were never a good boss."
So, because Wasp was kinda mean to B and Bulkhead, he deserved to have his sanity put through a wood chipper. Bulkhead is supposed to be the gentle giant of the team, by the way. We're supposed to think he's a nice guy. Or, Optimus insists in the same episode as Wasp being victim-blamed that he has respect for his teammates, which Sentinel will never have. Even though not 10 minutes earlier, Sentinel stopped Optimus from fighting the Jet Twins. Is there a point to be made about treating others with respect? Yes, but Optimus has no right to be saying that to Sentinel when Sentinel protected his team from Optimus. Also, Optimus was just as fooled as everyone else up until 60 seconds ago that Wasp was B and B was Wasp. So much for respect when you can't even pass the doppelganger test. But this is only one of many bad lessons Animated has for its audience, sometimes wrong-headed, sometimes wildly miscommunicated. If you'd like to see me talk about another time Animated screwed up its own episodic moral, check out my collaboration episode review with Ultra Primal for Predacons Rising. Or you can subscribe to await the day I finally tear Animated a new porthole. Until then, I'm Jay on Channel 3, and thanks for playing.